time to welcome onto the show an icon who's been doing this for more than a minute. He is a verified beast in the booth with 4 Grammy nominations, a BET and Soul Train Awards, Mr. Quality Over Quantity from I'm Loving It to RBs, one of the only artists in the world that could have brought together some of the greatest in the game and get them all to bring their A game. He went from moving bricks to creating bricks. He is also a record company executive, a businessman with his own label, 3 cream stores, Remedy Dispensary, Kitsu Ramen Restaurant, and he still finds time to fight for criminal justice reform with his 3-strike non-profit. And if that has left you on the floor like me, a slightly exhausted and gasping for breath and need an ambulance, he got you covered with that too. Give it up for the incredible Martin Scorsese of street rap. He is Pusha T, the king himself.
This is the best intro I've ever had.
You are
best intro ever.
Stop it. You are incredible. I just want to say, first of all, congratulations on the album. And I mean, it is spectacular. It is spectacular. Like I said in the intro, it is all quality, and that's what we expect from you. We just hope it's not going to be 3 years before we get the next one, because I think. And I also got to say, I also wanted to big shout out to Tunji and to Steve Victor on the rollout of this album, because everywhere I go, I see Pusha T. Even here in Sydney, there are billboards, and I know it's your last album with Def Jam, but these guys have done a fantastic job, and it's got the support it deserves, and I love seeing that. I really love seeing that. So congratulations. Congratulations to everyone involved. I mean, I know Times Square, your face is everywhere. How does that feel?
It feels so good, and it feels so good to be accompanied with, you know, all of this promo, accompanied with what I feel like is my best work to date. A lot of times it doesn't happen in sync like that.
Well,
and
I mean, I know I want to get
this time. You know, the stars align.
Yeah, I want to get into the blessings that we take away from the pandemic, and one of the blessings is the time that artists got to create incredible bodies of work, and you are definitely one of them. But I wanted to start with breaking down, explaining to people what coke rap or street rap is, in case they're taking it all literally. And I'd like to start with the name of the album, and we could just explore that a little bit. Of course, Almost Dry, it can be referenced to a lot of things that are going on in the world right now. What does Almost Dry mean to you, and why did you choose that as the name of the album?
Well, It's Almost Dry is the title of the album because it's centered around creating a masterpiece. And as you're creating a masterpiece, everyone's always sitting around waiting for you. And they're like, man, where is it at? Can I get the sneak peek? Where can I check it out at? And you got to tell them, like, no, it's almost dry. It's almost ready. It's almost dry.
Okay, because that's so weird. Because for me, I took it as, it's time to re-up. It's time to, you know, so which I love about everything in your raps is that it's so metaphorical. I think it can be interpreted many ways.
It is. Well, see, the double meaning of It's Almost Dry in a drug sense is you have to wait for the drugs to dry before you can sell it.
Ooh.
You don't want to sell your drugs wet.
Okay. Yeah, true
you
that.
You don't want to sell your weight wet.
True that.
So it's like, that's another double entendre.
Yeah, I love it. I love all the double entendres in this. Beautiful. Of course, for people who don't know, you have been doing this for more than a minute. I think back in the Clips days, you're in your school uniform in the studio.
No way.
Well, you would have been coming from school.
Well, actually, I was skipping school then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was definitely skipping school.
Yeah.
Sure.
I want to talk a little bit about you first meeting Pharrell and everything after we get into one of your favorite Pharrell tracks. For people who don't know, let's break this down just quickly. You got 2 of the greatest producers in the world to do 6 songs each. I think you're the only person in the world that could have done that. You have incredible relationships with both artists. Not only that, but having the features, including Jay-Z. This is your third. We're going to talk about that. Third track with Jay-Z. But first, what track would you like to get into that Pharrell produced off the album?
Let's go straight to Let the Smoker Shine the Coops.
Ooh, nice one. Let's do that now. We are talking with the incredible King Push. The album has dropped, Almost Dry. Talking now about Pharrell, who of course produced that track. Tell me, when did you first meet Pharrell?
I probably met Pharrell when I was either 12 or 13.
Yeah,
And,
more than a minute.
Yeah. So, I have a best friend who, Pharrell, at the time, was inquiring about, like, dating her. And he would see me with her all the time. He was like, "Hey man, is that your girlfriend or whatever?" And I was like, "Oh no." And it's my homegirl. So me, him, and her just started hanging out like every day. And one day he came over because me and her lived in the same neighborhood.
What's the age difference? What's your age difference between Pharrell? He's a bit older than you, isn't he?
Well, yeah, he's 4 years older than me.
Yeah. Oh, so he's okay. So, okay.
Yeah. So he came over the house one day and just stormed in my house and was like, "Hey, your brother's name is Gene." He was like, "Man, he's the rhymingest dude I ever met in my life. Where's he at? Oh my God."
Shout out Malice.
And I was like, and at the time I was like, "Oh, he's over Timbaland's house," because Timbaland used to produce for my brother. And I was like, "Yeah, he's working with Timbaland. He can't work with you right now. Just move."
These beats ain't Timbaland.
So basically, at that time, right after that, Timbaland started working with Jodeci and moved to New Jersey and doing that whole Aaliyah, Missy Elliott thing. And that gave room for Pharrell and Chad to actually work with my brother. And Chad, who you knew as Pharrell's partner in Neptunes,
yep,
he lived in our neighborhood as well. And so we just would go over Chad's house and my brother would rhyme, and that went on for a little while. And then one day I was like, "Man, I'm gonna write a rhyme." And
the rest is history. So you're the youngest of the family.
Yes, I am. I am.
You are the youngest. Clips, if people don't know, let's give them a quick taste of Clips now. What track would you like for all the kids who've never heard a Clips track before? Which one should we get into? Your choice.
If you haven't heard a Clips track before, I tend to think that Hell Hath No Fury is the classic album from the Clips. So I would want to do a song called Keys Open Doors.
Let's do that one now. We're dropping that now. We are talking with Pusha T, the king himself. Don't go nowhere. We are talking with the king himself, King Pusha T. Of course, the album has dropped, Almost Dry. If you haven't copped it, you need to. Everybody is raving about this album. We are super excited. Of course, produced half by Pharrell, half by Kanye. Tell me, let's talk a little bit now about moving into, I just think it was genius putting these people all on the same album, because there is undoubtedly a competitiveness that happens with every artist, and I've been doing this for 20 years and I know how competitive artists are. So when you put this caliber, everybody has to rise, everybody has to level up. Tell me, what was the difference working with Pharrell? And I know you've done this a few times in interviews, and I'm sorry, but I need my audience to hear it as well. What was the difference between Pharrell and Kanye? How did they push you differently?
I think Pharrell's more of a composer. So he's like very hands-on with every part of the song. He's going to sit there and make sure the verse has the proper cadence. He's going to make sure that the verse and the beat are making a marriage. He's gonna make sure that the hook is extra sticky. He's gonna make sure that there's a B chorus and there's background hooky parts that, he wants to make sure that every part of the song is sticky and you leave, you take part of that song with you.
Yeah.
Right? Kanye is more of a rap head. So he just wants me to rap for 1,000 bars, and he just wants to take them and then he wants to shape that into what he wants it to be. Kanye is a bit more easier to work with because that's very easy for me to do.
Yeah.
Pharrell is a bit more like school.
Well, I think the songwriting in this speaks for itself. It's for having 6 songs by each different producer. It's still such a cohesive body of work, and the lyrical poetry on it. I mean, it's just something else. And me, who is just a wordsmith, you know, I just love the way people connect words together. This album just has it all. You know, for that true hip hop head, you must cop this album. All right, so we talked about a little bit about time and what COVID gave us, a lot of the negatives. But the positive out of that for musicians, even though you weren't touring, for somebody at your level being able to stay at home. First of all, congratulations on being a dad.
Oh yeah.
So
Listen,
cute.
the best verse, the best song, the best everything I've ever created is Nigel Bricks.
Beautiful, beautiful. Of course, you're going to have to leave him and go on tour at the end of this next month too. That's going to be tricky.
I don't think so. I think I might.
He's got to come. Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah.
I love that. Do you think, obviously, I know you've spoken before, you're an older father. A lot of our people, you were saying your friends had kids when they were younger. Are you sort of grateful now that you're doing this at this time in your life rather than at a time where you may have had to be more absent than you've had to be for?
Yeah, I think about it all the time. I don't know how, you know, a lot of my friends did this younger. Man, you know, I'm just at a very calm stage in my life, and I couldn't imagine, you know, being younger and wanting to still run around and having that energy to run around outside.
Yeah.
Having my son at home. Like now it's like, wow, it's so perfect. Like it's just really perfect that I'm where I am right now, the space that I'm in right now, and I have the time and the patience to you know, sit down and just want to connect with my son.
And it's really evident in every interview I've ever seen you do for this album, how joyful you are. I feel that your heart is full, even though I've got to say, I know you've gone through some major losses in the last few months, for which I offer my condolences. But the joy that you have is just palpable, and it translates every time you're on camera. You see you so full of joy, and that's so wonderful to see as someone who's witnessed your journey for so long. You just seem, your heart seems full, and I'm really pleased to see that. And that makes us feel joyous as well. Speaking of which, now it's time for us to get into a Kanye track off the album. Of course, we play Diet Coke. There are so many, so I can't pick it. You have to.
I'm going to go with Dreaming of the Past.
Why not? What a beautiful track. Let's do that now. Getting into the track now. It's Pusha T. People don't go nowhere. K-Sera on the Dirty Dozen. Let's go. We are talking with Pusha T. We are just super buzzing on this incredible new album, Almost Dry. That track, of course, produced by Kanye. Beautiful sample in it. Who's the sample in that?
The sample in that is
Donny Hathaway?
Yeah. Donny Hathaway.
Beautiful. Yeah. Tell me, when did you first meet Kanye?
I met Kanye for the first time in 2006, I believe.
Yep.
Was that 2006? When was that Louis Vuitton? Okay, so I met him on his 30th birthday. And Don C, his best friend at the time, had commissioned my brother and myself to perform Hell Hath No Fury at the new Louis Vuitton flagship store for his 30th birthday.
Wow.
And I met him, and that's what we did. And then soon after that, we did a record together. Probably like 3 years later, in 2009. And then late, and in 2010, I was on tour, And it was right after my brother decided that he was going to take a break from rapping. And Kanye called me and asked me to come work on my beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Beautiful.
And I've been with good music ever since.
Now, in saying that, one thing I particularly love about your friendship with Kanye is, and you and I are politically aligned. However, you and Kanye are political opposites, but you still maintain a friendship. And I think it's very important in this day and age for us to understand that you can be, you can disagree. And politically everything. How does that work, and how do you explain that for us, so that we can understand how to do that for ourselves with people who we may be politically, polar opposites, but that doesn't mean we can't have an open discussion and then get back to our friendship.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with just understanding each and everybody's agenda and not taking politics as personal.
Yeah.
As most people do. He understands that I have an agenda and what's important to me, and he knows that I'm gonna align myself and vote accordingly.
Yep.
The same way he does.
Yep.
His agenda isn't my agenda, and mine isn't his.
Correct. And that's okay.
But it doesn't, it's not to slight him or him slight me or be spiteful. It's just about, the things that we care about and who we're trying to bring change to and for.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no malice or ill intent in that,
And I think hip hop, there's a Dougie Fresh quote I use a lot that says, hip hop educates on a higher level and promotes positive change through music. And I love that quote. And I think that dialogue and discussion and if you want to call it an argument or a debate, I think is healthy. And I think that shouldn't destroy friendships. And I hope that the divisiveness that we're seeing at the moment, I think at the end of the day, I think that we can all, look at your friendship with Kanye and see it as a wonderful example of how you can still remain friends and be on, either side of a political divide. So now in saying that, of course, one of the wonderful things that happened to you through Kanye was CEO of Good Music. Tell me, what was that like? Did you enjoy it? And what was the best thing about being CEO, and what was the worst thing about it?
I think for me, the best part was, bringing artists to the table and the constant search for something new or some music that has some energy around it that could be beneficial to the brand, to the label.
What's one of your most what's one of your most proudest finds?
Man, I will have to say that the whole Don't Like remix would have never happened if it wasn't for me.
Woo! Hey!
And I was like fire remix. And honestly, I wish it would have got executed to its fullest degree, because the whole plan was to sign all of the Chief Keef factor.
Yeah.
That was Chief, that was Lil Durk, that was Young Chop, that was Reese, that was everybody. And it didn't happen that way, but we did get a very classic remix out of it. Beautiful. I had an extremely classic verse.
Yes.